Okay guys, we are predicting UFC Fight Night, Woodley versus Burns, Saturday 30th of May. The main event is Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. If you take a look at the card, we won't see any huge names. We can see some familiar faces in the co-main and on the main card, but further down, if you're not follow the sport regularly, you will not recognize many of them. But we're gonna start at our first prelim match, and then we're gonna work our way up to the main event. So, the first prelim is between Chris Gutierrez and Vince Morales. Let's have a look. Alright, it's the battle between the 51 ranked and 66th ranked bantamweight, both from USA, same age, pretty similar in build and height. The Vince Morales is a wrestler. Chris Gutierrez, El Guapo, stole his nickname from Basruten. He's a mixed martial artist. He does a little bit of everything. From what I've seen, I haven't seen a lot from Vince Morales. We can see he has a couple of losses, couple of wins, but yeah, he got a win over Yadong Song. That's not bad. But he lost to Benito Lopez his last fight. If you look at the record for Chris Gutierrez, you can see he's lost to Raoni Barcelos, the Jiu-Jitsu guy. But other than that, Ryan McDonald and Geraldo de Freitas, he won. And I thought he displayed some good boxing in his last bout. So I was quite impressed with his footwork and his way, with his combinations, and he was very disciplined. He was very calm in there. So I believe he can do some work against Vince Morales. So my prediction is Chris Gutierrez defeats Vince Morales by unanimous decision. Alright, moving on to the featherweight division. We got a bout between Billy Quarantillo and Spike Carlyle, the Alpha Ginger. Both are new signings and hot prospects, both with a debut win in the octagon. And we can see they're both on winning streaks. Billy is a little bit older, a little bit taller. Spike is a little shorter. A wrestler, very physical guy in the octagon. Billy has a good cardio, is very tough, not the most technical. He's quite an all-round fighter. He can fight everywhere, but they have some different styles. And I think this is a very interesting bout, and I think it will be very fan-friendly and has a lot of action. What I'm seeing here, I'm seeing that I think the fight will be contested a lot on the feet. I feel maybe Spike has an advantage on the ground with his wrestling, but then Billy has a lot of submission and very good jiu-jitsu. So maybe it will cancel itself out. But what is definitely is that Spike can hurt Billy on their feet. And that is what I think will happen in this matchup. I think it will go to the clinch, to the cage, and Spike can throw one of his elbows or one of his use his dirty boxing, catch Billy off guard, and maybe finish him on the ground. So I'm going with the upset here. I'm going with Spike by TKO round 3. Next, we move to the flyweight division. We got a bout between Tim Elliott, a UFC veteran, versus Brandon Royval. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't heard a lot about this guy, Brandon Royval, before, but I've seen Tim Elliott. And not so long ago, he even contested for the title. He has won some, he has lost a few, but he's definitely faced tougher competition than Brandon. If we look at Brandon's record, he's got a few wins, but not very notable names. Joby Sanchez, we've heard of. He's lost to Kenney, which is also on this card. Looking at their stats, quite similar height. Brandon has a little bit of a reach, a little bit younger. Muay Thai fighter. Tim Elliott, he's an all-round fighter, a little bit crazy. He can do it all. But I was still considering him a good fighter. He can catch a lot of fighters off guard with his unorthodox style. So, what will happen here in this bout? Who knows? But I think Tim Elliott got an advantage with his experience. He's faced tougher competition. He's fought for a longer time, and I think he will be calm under pressure in this situation. So, while Brandon is a tough guy, I will predict that Tim Elliott will defeat him here. My prediction is Tim Elliott by submission, rear naked choke, round 2. Alright, we're at the bantamweight division. A fight between Kenney and Smolka. Smolka, a veteran in the octagon, has won some, lost some. He's a very tough guy, very tall. We'll see he has a little bit of length, the reach advantage. No one really has an advantage here. They're quite similar. Smolka, he's gonna put up a fight. He's one of those guys, you can almost knock out and beat him up the whole fight, and he comes from behind the last second and wraps you up in some tricky submission or something. So we can never count the last samurai out. But Kenney, I feel he's on his way up. Smolka, he's maybe stagnated a bit, or on his way down a little bit. But Kenney, he can box, he has a high tempo, he can do it all, he's an all-round fighter. The best possibility for Smolka here is try to catch him in a submission, but I don't see that happen here in this 3-round fight. Kenney has good cardio. I think he will keep him at bay with his boxing, kickboxing, and Smolka is a tough guy to finish, but I will predict Kenney wins this fight by unanimous decision. Next, we're in the lightweight division. We have a matchup between Roosevelt Roberts, the Go-Getter, versus Brock Weaver, the Chata Tosca, whatever that means. Brock is on a 5-fight winning streak. Roosevelt Roberts lost to Vince Pichel, but bounced back with a win over Alexander Yakovlev, the Russian. If we look at their stats, we see that the reach is identical, the height is almost identical, both tall fighters for the lightweight division, similar age. So what can we say? Brock Weaver, a tough guy, goes forward. Roosevelt Roberts, if you've seen him, he's very technical with his boxing, and he has a very slick boxing. He picks his shots, and good counters, good dirty boxing. So this is a classic matchup between the brawler and the technician. And in those kind of matchups, I usually go with the more technical, the more fluid guy. And I'm impressed with Roosevelt Roberts. Vince Pichel beat him. He was bigger, he is stronger, he had better wrestling, better ground. So that is something Roosevelt Roberts definitely got to work on. But his stand up is very good. So what do I think will happen here? I think Roosevelt Roberts will piece him up, Brock. He will probably fight back, but yeah, I probably see a late finish for Roosevelt Roberts here. So my prediction is Roosevelt Roberts wins versus Brock Weaver, TKO, third round. Next, we are in the women's strawweight division. We got a matchup between Mackenzie Dern and Hannah Cifers. If we look at their records, we got 7-1 and 10-4. So Hannah Cifers got a little bit of experience advantage. They are similar in age. Hannah Cifers very short, 5'1", but the reach is not it's not a large gap. Mackenzie Dern has a little bit of a reach advantage, but not much. Yeah, I also thought that Hannah Cifers is small for the division. She won't knock you out. She has a lot of volume with her punches and her striking, but yeah, she's more of a distance fighter. But she moves forward, and she's tough. But so is Mackenzie Dern, and I think she wants the fight to stay at the ground here, and she wants to take the fight to the ground, where she has a distinct advantage over Hannah. I see Mackenzie using her wrestling, control her where she's comfortable, and I can see that I think that Hannah will have some trouble staying or getting up from the bottom. So while I'm terrible at predicting women's MMA fights, I'm gonna go out and say Mackenzie Dern wins versus Hannah Cifers. I'm gonna go with TKO round 3. Moving on to the UFC's heavyweight division, we got a matchup between Jamahal Hill and Kitson Abreu. We got Kitson Abreu. He had a notable win against Sam Alvey. He lost against Ankalev and Gamsato. Jamahal Hill is on a tear. He's on a winning streak. He is won against Dequan Townsend. And the latest Darko Stosic, which is a much shorter, more compact fighter. Okay, so we got the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter versus the American kickboxer or MMA fighter. Okay, what do I think is gonna happen here? Okay, if you look at the stats, we can note right away that Jamahal Hill definitely has size. He has length. He's taller significantly, and has a longer reach. And he wants to stand and fight this fight. And if we saw the matchup between Sam Alvey and Kitson Abreu, I think he's quite stubborn, so I don't think we will see a lot of ground fighting in this. I think that maybe Kitson will try to take him down late when he realizes that he struggles to take Jamahal down, but I think it will be too late. I think that Jamahal is more technical, and on the feet, I think he will keep him at bay. I think he will use his footwork. I think he will move around, and I think Kitson will struggle to find his target and to reach those targets. So I'm seeing primarily a stand-up fight. I can see Jamahal controls the octagon in this one, and yeah, I can see him want to finish here and make a statement in UFC. So my prediction is Jamahal Hill knocks out Kitson Abreu in round 3. Next up, we are in the women's division once again. In the flyweight division, we got Caitlin Chookagian, the blonde fighter, versus Antonina the Panther Shevchenko, who is of course the sister of Valentina Shevchenko, who are the flyweight champion. All right. Looking at the records, we got 13-3 versus 8-1. Antonina's a little bit older. She has a small reach advantage, quite similar in height. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very impressed with Antonina. She lost a split decision. If we look here, she lost a split decision to Roxanne Modafferi. And let's be honest, she's not a world beater. She has won some fights on her toughness, but let's face it, she's not a high UFC caliber fighter. So, we have a contrast in styles. Caitlin Chookagian will most likely pressure the fight, use the pressure. Antonina wants to stay back and pick her shots and fight at a much lower pace than Caitlin. I think Caitlin will box her up. I think Antonina will struggle to keep her pace. I think she will struggle to find a rhythm in the fight in this one, and I think gradually Caitlin will take over the fight from the first round. So I don't know if I see a finish here, but at least I predict that Caitlin Chookagian should win this one. So my prediction is Caitlin Chookagian defeats Antonina Shevchenko by unanimous decision. Moving on, we are in the UFC's heavyweight division. We got a matchup between Blagoy Ivanov versus Augusto Sakai. Alright, we've seen these guys in the octagon before. They are heavy sluggers, both of them. I don't think this will be a very action-packed fight, being that they're heavyweights and they're quite slow, both of them. But they have power. So, but I don't think we will see a knockout here. But both have a good chin. If we look at the stats, we see that Augusto is significantly taller, and he will have quite a huge reach advantage. But we can't count out Blagoy. We've seen him versus Junior Dos Santos. He lost his last fight versus Derek Lewis, but that was a split decision, and that could go either way. Sakai won a split decision versus Andrei Arlovsky, which could have gone both ways. He won against Marcin Tybura, which I thought had fallen completely off, but he bounced back in his last fight. But after seeing both of them, I will say that I'm most impressed by Blagoy. He did well in another organization. Heavy power, he can wrestle, he's got a good chin, and yeah, I think he will do well here. So Augusto, he's I wouldn't call him a knockout artist, but he likes to stand and bang. But I think that Blagoy could pressure him in the later part of the fight. I think Augusto will gas out at the end, and I think Blagoy will take over. But I think this will be a pretty boring fight, but I'm going with Blagoy Ivanov by unanimous decision. Finally, we're at the main event of the evening. In the welterweight division, we got Tyron, the Chosen One Woodley versus Gilbert Durinho Burns. We got a jiu-jitsu artist in Burns versus a wrestler in Woodley with heavy hands. Tyron Woodley is getting older. He's close to his 40s. He's 38 years old. Gilbert is 33. For Tyron Woodley, we sport a 3-inch reach advantage. They are similar in length. Okay, what do I think is gonna happen here? I don't think that Gilbert is gonna be able to take Tyron down. I think Tyron Woodley has very good defensive wrestling. He has very compact. He has huge power in both of his hands, and he's a tactician. Gilbert is also very explosive, and is good on his feet as well. So, what do I think will happen here? I think there will be, I don't think Gilbert will gonna rush Tyron. Tyron is a counter fighter, so I think it will be a feeling out process in the beginning of the match. I think it will move slow, and I think Tyron is set on making a comeback here. And I think in regards to his age, I still think he has something to prove, and I think he is very motivated to make a statement in this match. 5-rounder main event. We've seen Tyron go 5 rounds before. We haven't seen Gilbert go 5 rounds, so that is the big question mark. Gilbert is on a roll. Tyron's last fight was a loss against the current title holder, Kamaru Usman. But he didn't look his best in that matchup, if I'm honest. Either Usman was very good, or Woodley had an off night, or maybe both. Probably a combination there. But I think this will stay on the feet. I think that Woodley may be able to land some strikes that will keep Gilbert at bay, make him a little bit timid. And I can see Woodley outlanding Gilbert, taking over in the later rounds with his experience, and I can see that. I think he will take this one. So my prediction is Tyron Woodley wins this match by unanimous decision. And this was the entire card, guys. If you managed to stuck with me through all of these matchups, congratulations. If you want more content like this and more predictions, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys.